Dear friends and colleagues, good morning. How are we feeling this morning? I'm glad to hear that. Do make your seat. There's plenty of seats on this side of the hall, by the way. Friends and colleagues, just make your way through. We're about to start, and we want everyone to be sitting comfortably. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to NTNU's Energy Transition Conference 2024. My name is Nisha Pillai, and it's my pleasure to be your moderator today. Any questions or issues you have, just send them in, call me Nisha. Now, our theme for this year is building momentum. Building momentum for sustainable solutions. It's all about scale and speed. And what can you expect to get from today, from our spending today together? Insights into geopolitics and global energy markets, of course, that's a given, but also some cutting-edge research and industry transformations, plus much, much more. Shall we find out more? I'm going to invite up now to the stage Professor Asgeir Tomaskar, whose baby this conference is. Professor Asgeir is Director of NTNU's Energy Transition Initiative, and also, I'm pleased to say, he's joined by Grande, the Rector of NTNU. So please, do come and join me. Morning, Asgeir. Morning, Grande. Please come on here so we can see you. So what is this year's conference all about, Asgeir? What are the overarching themes, would you say?
Yeah, so like you said, I think it's now all about building momentum. If you look back at the last 10, 15 years, you can say it's tremendous what has happened in terms of getting renewables more competitive, getting energy efficiency on the focus. But to be honest, if we want to meet the 1.5 degree target or even the 2 degree target, we have to do much more and much faster. We're just in a starting phase of this transition. And this is the focus of this conference, to look at it from different angles and with different groups in the room, from industry, from policymakers, from academia, and look at how can we actually get this momentum that we really need to make it happen. I think this will affect us all the decision makers in the private sector and in academia. For example, we have to think on how can we scale education and research to be able to get the momentum that we need to succeed.
And what are your thoughts on that, Grande? What role do you think universities play then in building momentum for the transition?
I guess the biggest impact in the end of the day is actually the candidates we are graduating, that they have the right competence and know the challenges of the energy transition. I think that's the most important thing in the long run. But of course, we should also facilitate research, have the infrastructure for doing that. And particularly in our case, it's also to foster collaboration, international collaboration, but also cross-sectional collaboration.
Between different universities, do you mean?
Not only the universities, but the private sector, public sector, and so on.
Okay. So, Asgeir, tell me more about today's conference. What are the themes? What can we all expect to hear?
Yeah, so in the framing session, we have invited policymakers and experts with an overview over what are the gaps between the ambition we had going back 5 years and what we have achieved so far. And I think that will be a nice framing of the day in terms of telling us a little bit more about where are we and how can we succeed. And in the scaling of markets and solutions, I think we will look at both technologies that have already had a successful introduction to the market, but needs to tremendously speed up the pace, but also technologies that are more immature and need to build the markets. I think when you go to session on resilient circular economies, it's clear that there is a crisis in terms of raw materials and how they are also divided among different countries and in the world. And I think we need to look completely new on how we build the global value chains. This isn't easier due to geopolitical tensions and also the focus, well, you could say there is some kind of deglobalization focus also going on. So how will this affect the circular economies, and how will circular economies affect the world? Last session, we look at nature, culture, and democracy. These have to be respected when we're going to build this enormous scale-up that we're talking about.
And the tensions that are growing. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more, Grande, about what you might be excited about, actual research projects going on over here. Can you share anything with us?
A couple of things I would really like to share. First of all, last year we started a new center, the renewable center, for biodiversity analysis or forecast analysis, which is really also related to the green transition or the energy transition, the loss of biodiversity and the dilemmas related to that. The second thing I would mention is a big program we started on sustainability, on the systems understanding of the transition itself, involving more than 50 PhD students who are now halfway through, and in 2 years they will graduate. And I'm looking forward to see the impact those PhD candidates would do on it. Because many of these projects are also related to the energy transition, not necessarily only there are other dilemmas related to the grand challenges we are in our time.
Indeed, and there are many grand challenges. Asgeir, which ones do you think might be most tricky to overcome?
Yes, I think this last session, I'm really looking forward to that, because I think we will touch upon some of the important questions about what will we do in terms of, can we keep the welfare, can we keep the economic growth, and is it fair to only measure welfare in terms of economic growth? Maybe we need wider perspectives on how we successfully can create good lives, and how that can go hand in hand with the energy transition.
I think the economists amongst us will be scratching their heads on that one, Asgeir. And challenges for the university, Grande, in terms of building capacity, in terms of contributing to the transition?
I think actually in the long run, there are so many challenges we are heading in the future. So I'm a bit worried about the lack of talent or human brain capacity.
I'm not sure that that's what our audience wants to hear from you, Rector.
No, but I'm seriously, and this is not only in the Norwegian context, but in the European context. We really need talent, and there are so many challenges ahead, and I'm not sure if we basically, this is really a serious problem, I see. The other thing
you want young people to realize that they have promising careers ahead if they devote themselves?
If there are enough young people in this country, in this continent, and so on.
Oh, that's a whole other big question.
And the other thing
Rector.
is, of course, that the transition has to be just if you look in an international context.
Indeed. Thank you very much for getting us going, Grande and Professor Asgeir.
Thank you. Thank you.